I like the debate topic. Remember, debate arguments are all about speaking powerfully, speaking with power and speaking, being original, giving original points versus supporting your own teammate. Okay, don't waste your time on that. And statistics with citations. I think we're about time. That's enough time. Your time is done.
Okay, now that you guys have had your time to write out your initial argument, who from the pros or cons side would like to go first? China?
I believe that self-driving cars should be allowed on roadways. They should be allowed because they you have a low reliance on fossil fuels. They decrease human error by 20%, 29%, according to CNBC. This is important because it prevents accidents and pollution both, which can save more lives and keep the planet um, in better shape. Self-driving vehicles also causes less pollution by 15% according to Fox News, which is good for the environment. And it causes lower service costs for passengers and drivers of 20% by according to CNN. Overall, it also has a better moral incentive. Many electric cars are made with few parts and less moving components. Gas-powered vehicles, on the other hand, are made in multiple parts of the world, usually involving child labor in places such as the Congo, China, and even Mexico. If we can eliminate or at least reduce some of these infractions, then we will be in the moral right zone, and we can cleanly use our products. That's why I think that self-driving cars should be allowed onto the roads.
Very good. Now remember, great points for now. You made some really, really good points, but it's also about speaking.
Yeah.
Debate's also about being powerful and putting a point out there. It's not just about presenting some facts, right?
Oh.
So remember that it's also speaking. It's content and delivery. It's still a mini speech.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pranav, for your argument. I would like to call up somebody from the contact.
I feel like self-driving cars should not be used on public roads for a few reasons. One reason is because there have been very high accident rates when self-driving cars have been tested, like on Teslas, for example. There were very high accident rates, and according to a highway traffic administration, the accident rate increased by 9.1% or higher based on the different states and what their laws are. Another reason is because if you think about it, if there are many different jobs that people have today, whether they're bus drivers, taxi drivers, UBay drivers, and all these different things. But when self-driving cars take over soon, it'll eliminate many of those people's jobs, which will cause a significant decrease in money, a significant decline in money, and millions of dollars will be lost. My final reason is because there are, in self-driving cars, there are all these different cameras, and there's one camera called a LiDAR. A LiDAR, it basically scans around all the roads, and they check to see if there's any obstacles anywhere, and anything so that it should turn or like go around it. But here's the problem. LiDARs have not been programmed to be perfect yet, so sometimes it might be unable to see the obstacles, and as a result, it may even crash into it, which again ties back to the accidents and the number of crashes. So overall, I feel like self-driving cars should not be on public roads because it has increased the accident rate significantly in many states, and it also eliminates jobs, creating a significant decline in money. Thank you.
Very good summary there. Good. Yep, that's really how you should go.
Thank you, Nidya, for your very powerful argument. And I think Vaishnavi is the next person on the post. So I'd like to call you up.
Self-driving cars should be allowed on public roads because they can actually save lives and make travel safer. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, about 94% of serious crashes are actually caused by human error, like texting, driving, speeding, or fatigue. If cars drive themselves, these mistakes can be drastically reduced. In fact, studies from the University of Michigan show that autonomous vehicles could cut crashes by up to 90%, saving around $190 billion each year in the US, and preventing thousands of deaths. Self-driving cars have driven over 50 million miles and had 88% fewer injury crashes than human drivers. These cars don't get distracted, tired, or drunk, which makes them more reliable than the person behind the wheel. As technology continues to improve, self-driving cars can make our roads more smarter, safer, and even more accessible for everyone. So they can actually deserve a chance on public roads.
Very good. Very good. Interesting. No texting.
Thank you, Vaishnavi. Now I'd like to call up Pragya for her comment.
I think that self-driving vehicles shouldn't be used on public roads because of multiple different reasons. One being that technology isn't perfect yet. So we still need a lot of work before we can fully trust AI or technology to self-drive a car, since that's where a lot of accidents happen. And if a self-driving car crashes, it's unclear who should be faulted. Like, we don't know who takes credit for the fault. It could be the owner, it could be the manufacturer, or the developer. And people still haven't figured out who they have to give the credit for, and that isn't going to end very well if there is a crash. And I like to go back to the point that Nithya stated, that it's going to take away a lot of jobs. So many of the world's jobs include driving, and if self-driving vehicles are used, then this is going to take away so many jobs, and people are going to have a tough time finding a good job. And also security risks. As absurd as this sounds, it's possible that hackers could potentially take control of self-driving vehicles. And my last point is that AI might have to make life or death situations or decisions in unavoidable crashes, and this might start raising a concern about morality. So these sum up why I think that self-driving vehicles shouldn't be used. Thank you.
A tough one for you, Sukriti.
Both sides made really strong arguments about if self-driving cars should be allowed on public roads or not. And now I'd like to give everybody 1 minute to come up with their rebuttal argument.
If you'll take notes while the other speakers are speaking, that'll help you come up with the counter argument. You'll know what exactly to counter. Yeah.
A restaurant.
Yeah, go ahead. Straight.
Straight ahead.
Yeah, straight. I think as soon as Pranav comes back, we can start.
would like to begin the rebuttal round, where each side counters each other's arguments. Who would like to go first? Anthony?
I'm going to do a rebuttal of what Vaishnavi has said. Vaishnavi has said that self-driving cars should be good because it will help with safety and it will help prevent crashes. Rather than that, it would actually cause more crashes because according to a NHTSA study that was done in Michigan, there's this thing called phantom braking when a self-driving car, it randomly presses the gas pedal whenever it does for absolutely no reason. And the phantom braking has caused more than 956 crashes all over the world. So this shows that self-driving cars, they might be good and they might help prevent crashes, but it can also cause crashes as well. Another study has been done in 2015. In a famous 2015 experiment, there was a journalist that was in a Jeep Cherokee, and they were scientists who, with 10 laptops, they were more than 10 feet away from the car, and yet they were still able to hack the car. What they were able to do is they were able to turn on the windshield wipers and the radio without even anything else going on. They disabled the gas pedal, and they somehow managed to lock the person inside the car and ask for ransomware, meaning asking for money. This kind of hacking that can happen in cars it's not safe, and we might not be able to find a way to fix this as hackers are almost everywhere. Another thing that hackers can do is they can also spoof GFS signals. For example, they can make it look like the stop sign is invisible, or they can make the car think that there's a wall somewhere nearby, and it would cause the car to abruptly swerve. Another thing is that self-driving cars, it can't detect glitches that well. For example, imagine if a construction worker, for example, was trying to wave their hand and try to tell the car to do something. Unfortunately, cars, they can't really detect what humans are doing. Therefore, they might cause a problem. Another problem is that it may not be able to just detect human instincts. For example, if kids are about to run into the road, and it might just happen to actually cause a car accident for the kids who are running. So overall, I feel that self-driving cars should not be used on public roads because it causes many crashes. There are hackers that can actually do something really bad to the car.
I love it. You know exactly what I was going to say, even with debates, just like a speech. These debate speeches are mini speeches, right? If you tell a story, it'll stick more. So that was the perfect story about scientists hacking. So now that's the story we'll remember more than statistics and all of that. Telling a story as part of your argument is a great technique. Good job.
Thank you, Nitya, for that very powerful argument. Like Coach Priya said, adding story was very effective. Who else would like to go for the counter argument? Vaishnavi?
Of course, Vaishnavi wants to go. She was named. Go ahead.
The con side said self-driving cars shouldn't be on public roads because they're unsafe. But new data proves that's not true. Their data is actually a decade old, and now we're living with better technological advancements. In 2024, the California DMV reported that self-driving cars drove over 8 million miles with fewer than one crash every 200,000 miles, and most of those were actually caused by human drivers hitting the autonomous cars. A study from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that cities testing self-driving cars saw a 20% drop in overall crash rates because the technology made nearby drivers more careful. And according to McKinsey and Company, By 2050, self-driving cars could save up to 900,000 lives every year worldwide. They also make traffic smoother. Researchers predict a 30% decrease in congestion because these cars react instantly and they keep steady paces. And plus, people who can't drive, like elderly or visually impaired people, can have more freedom to rely on cars for traveling. And self-driving cars even cut emissions by using smarter routes and smoother braking, reducing the fuel use by up to 20%. So instead of stopping this innovation, we should actually allow self-driving cars on public roads with stronger safety standards because the numbers show that they're already making our roads safer and our world smarter. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Rashmi. Would anyone else like to go over their rebuttal?
The con-side has made many good arguments as to why self-driving vehicles should not be on the road, but I would like to counter that. Firstly, the con-side said that jobs would be lost if this change happens. Yes, that would be true, but new jobs would also be created. Instead of taxi drivers, bus drivers, Uber drivers, and delivery men, we would have technicians, mechanics, programmers, things like that. These new cars will cause less human error because if there's no human driving, then there's no variation in attention level. There'll be no fatigue in the so-called driver, and there'll be little inaccuracy because the robot controlling the car is not a human. It can't feel emotions. It doesn't have impulses. So it is always clear-headed and can make the right decisions. Electric vehicles also have a proven use on the road. I'm sure many of you have friends or family that own Teslas, right? Or some kind of electric vehicle.
I have one electric mini.
Oh, that's nice.
Sitting right up.
Okay. Yeah, so they're quite common vehicles, quite popular, and most of you probably have not had any accidents or issues with them. If there is an accident, which is very rare, greater research is put into the vehicle, as it is with every invention. For example, when cars were first made, they were slow, clunky machines that often overturned and drivers got killed instantly. Now, however, that type of situation is quite rare over the 100 or so years that cars have been in existence. Human-operated cars also have flaws themselves. For example, the brakes can jam, the steering wheel can lock, the gear shift can not work, or even the tires might wear out. So electric vehicles are not more or less dangerous than, say, a gas-powered one.
Very good.
Finally, I think there's less security in gas cars. See, electric vehicles have many cameras all around them. For anyone who owns a Tesla or a similar vehicle, they would know that there are many cameras inside and outside the car. So much so that they can detect people walking by, people trying to open the vehicle. Well, most gas cars have protection systems. They're nowhere near as advanced as those found in electric vehicles that we drive today. Overall, I think this is why electric vehicles should be allowed on the road and should be given a chance just like their gas-powered predecessors. Thank you.
That's a good debate session.
Thank you, Pranav. Would anyone else like to go for the rebuttal argument?
Everyone went already, right? 2 rounds done.
Yeah. Okay.
Pragya went second time?
No.
No, she hasn't. Ask her.
Morgan, would you like to go for the rebuttal argument?
I think everything is already summed up. I think I'm good.
Both sides had really strong arguments. For some of the things the pro side said, they said it's more convenient for the environment and it really improves the environment because it has a reduced fossil fuels. It's more reliable for the passengers because they don't have to worry about drunk drivers or texting and driving. And they also proved the con side wrong. And it also can save up to 900,000 lives in about 25 years. They also went against the con side argument by saying it opens up more jobs for technicians, manufacturers, and mechanics. For a summary of the con side, they said that accidents are increased by 9.1% or higher depending on which state it's in. It takes jobs away for people who are bus drivers, Uber drivers, or taxi drivers. And AI also does not have the natural human eye or instinct to detect more vehicles, objects, children, or any people and animals. So it's also pretty risky for this form of AI to be used. And people can also hack into the AI system, so it's less safe for the passenger and it can deceive the vehicle. For the best debater, which is
Yeah,
For
if
the
you're
best
ready,
debater.
name the side first. Which side won, and then the best debater.
For the best side, I chose the con side. Both sides did a really great job. You all used statistics and had really strong arguments, but I chose the con side because they had, when they did that, she had a lot of stories to prove her points, and it was more like relatable to envision. And for the best debater, I chose Nithya because she used many statistics, like globally, not just in the US. And during the rebuttal argument, she went directly against the opponent's points, and overall, I thought she did a really great job. So congratulations.
Very good. Congratulations. Look at you. Last week too, did you win the ribbon?
Sharing one.
Debate ribbon? Or you won the class ribbon last week? Yeah. So this time she won the debate ribbon. Okay, thank you very much. Hand it off to Shredder. Who wants to read next week's roles? Vaishnavi or Pragnya, would you have it ready? Thank you, Han. Yeah, you can say it. So quickly. Good job.